Can you hear me, Mr. Matthews?
We may have lost him, Judge. It looks like his image is frozen.
Yeah, it does look like it's frozen.
You can stay the same.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Muy buenos días a todos. Esta es su comparecencia inicial ante el Tribunal de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner, and I'm a judge in this court.
Mi nombre es Brad Gardner y yo soy un juez en este tribunal.
I'm not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
Yo no estoy acá para tener un juicio en su caso o para aceptar una declaración a cargos.
I'm here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you,
Yo estoy acá para informarle de cuáles son los cargos que le han sido imputados,
to advise you of certain rights,
para decirle cuáles son sus derechos,
to set bail on those offenses that I'm authorized to set bail,
para otorgarle fianza en esos delitos que se me permite otorgarle fianza,
to schedule a preliminary hearing,
para programar una audiencia preliminar
and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
y para determinar si usted requiere la asistencia de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing,
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio y no decir nada,
but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if your case goes to trial.
pero si usted renuncia a este derecho, cualquier cosa que usted diga durante este proceso podría ser usado en su contra si su caso va a juicio.
So please don't discuss the facts of your case.
O sea que por favor no hable de cómo ocurrieron los hechos.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights.
Durante este y todo el proceso siguiente, usted tiene los siguientes derechos.
The right to the presumption of innocence,
El derecho a la presunción de inocencia,
the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors,
el derecho de que se le formule una acusación mediante el jurado indagatorio para la mayoría de los delitos graves o de que se le formule una acusación para los delitos menores.
the right to a speedy and public trial by jury,
El derecho de tener un juicio público rápido y por jurado,
the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
el derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados a testificar en su contra,
the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
el derecho de obligar la asistencia de los testigos para que testifiquen a su favor,
the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense,
el derecho de testificar a su favor o de presentar pruebas para ser usadas en su defensa,
the right to have an attorney represent you.
el derecho de tener un abogado para que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, the right one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Si usted no pudiera contratarse un abogado, uno le podría ser nombrado si usted califica.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail.
Alguno de ustedes se le va a permitir que paguen su fianza para poder salir de la cárcel.
And these bonds may be posted by cash, commercial, or property.
Y estas fianzas pueden ser pagadas en efectivo usando una compañía fiancista, usando una propiedad.
If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office.
Si usted paga su fianza en efectivo, alguien tiene que llevar la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo más las tarifas adicionales a la comisaría.
The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of your case.
La comisaría se quedaría con este dinero y luego se lo reembolsaría al final de su caso.
If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service.
Si usted usa una compañía de fianza, alguien tendría que pagarle las tarifas a la compañía de fianza por sus servicios.
The fee will not be returned.
Pero estas tarifas no le serían reembolsadas.
I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond.
Yo no sé cuál sería la tarifa que le sería cobrada, pero generalmente está basado en un porcentaje de la fianza.
Finally, if you use property to post a bond, the property would need to have an equity a net equity at least 3 times the total bond amount.
Finalmente, si usted usa una propiedad para pagar su fianza, la propiedad tendría que tener por lo menos 3 veces la cantidad total de su fianza en capital neto para poder ser usada.
Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places.
Algunos de ustedes van a tener condiciones especiales en su fianza en las que se le prohíbe ponerse en contacto con ciertas personas o de que vaya a ciertos lugares.
This special condition will be provided to you in a separate form.
Esta condición especial se le va a dar a usted en un formulario por separado.
You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail.
También se le va a prohibir que se ponga en contacto con la víctima mientras usted esté encarcelado.
If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial. Looks like we have a situation where Miss Bermudez is frozen. I'm going to give it an opportunity to come back up. But Mr. Lloyd, you froze, Miss Matthews, you froze at a moment when I was saying, it's been a long while since I've seen you. I think the last time I saw you, you had all black hair.
Yes, sir. It has been a long time, Judge.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Judge?
I can, Ms. Bermudez. So I'm going to repeat the last line. If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial.
Si usted infringe la orden del juez, su fianza sería revocada y usted podría permanecer encarcelado hasta el final de su juicio.
You could also receive additional felony charges.
Y se le podrían imputar cargos adicionales por delitos graves.
It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond.
Es importante saber que si una persona está nombrada como una víctima, en su caso, a esa persona no se le va a permitir pagar la fianza por usted.
Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail.
Algunos de ustedes se le han imputado cargos por los cuales, por ley, a este juez no se le permite otorgarle fianza.
In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date.
En este caso, una audiencia para pedir fianza sería programada ante un juez del Tribunal Superior del Condado de Clayton y a usted se le informaría de cuándo sería esa fecha.
If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time.
Si actualmente usted está bajo libertad condicional, a este juez no se le permite otorgarle fianza en estos momentos.
Where the bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest.
Si la fianza es apropiada en este caso, se tomaría en consideración tan pronto su agente de libertad condicional tenga la oportunidad de tomar en cuenta este nuevo arresto.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you.
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar es determinar si hay suficientes pruebas para sustentar las alegaciones en su contra.
The standard at this stage is very low.
El estándar en esta etapa es muy bajo.
A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred.
Para que un juez determine si un cargo en esta etapa procede, solo tiene que determinar que existe la posibilidad de que el delito fue cometido.
Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing.
Todos tienen la habilidad de renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar.
However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing.
Sin embargo, usted debe de hablar con un abogado primero si usted no está seguro si es apropiado renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar.
if you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived.
Si usted paga su fianza, la audiencia preliminar se cancela automáticamente.
You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date.
Y usted va a recibir una notificación en la dirección que usted dé de cuándo va a ser su corte.
Finally, I need everyone to raise their right hand.
Finalmente, necesito que todos levanten su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm that any statement you make during this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
¿Jura usted y afirma que cualquier información que usted dé durante este proceso va a ser la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad lo jura ante Dios?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's begin with Mr. Aviles Moises.
Moises. Come on.
Give me 1 second, sir.
Señor, deme un momentito.
Okay, Mr. Moises, can you see and hear the interpreter?
Señor Moisés, ¿puede usted ver y escuchar a la intérprete? Yes.
Sir, you're charged with 1 count of a failure to yield at a stop sign and 1 count of driving a vehicle with no license.
Señora, usted se le acusa de no ceder el paso en un pare y un cargo de manejar sin licencia de conducir.
Your total bond is going to be set at $1,500. Can you pay that bond, sir?
Su fianza total va a ser de $1,500. ¿Puede usted pagar su fianza, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning.
Su audiencia preliminar va a estar fija para el día 29 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail.
Y esa fecha para ir a corte se cancela tan pronto usted pague su fianza y usted recibiría un nuevo citatorio por correo.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
¿Le gustaría a usted que yo vea si usted califica para nombrarle un abogado?
Did he say yes?
¿Dijo que sí?
No lo entendí.
¿Le gustaría a usted que yo vea si usted califica para nombrarle un abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Are you currently working, sir?
Actualmente, ¿está usted trabajando, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
Approximately how much do you make per hour or per month?
Aproximadamente, ¿cuánto gana usted por hora o por mes?
Por hora son $15 por hora.
Es $15 an hour.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Señor, usted sí califica y yo le voy a nombrar un abogado para que lo represente. ¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí?
Sí. ¿Cuándo podría pagar la fianza?
When can I pay the bond?
Today.
En el día de hoy.
I'm responsible for the paperwork and I send it back over to the sheriff's department. So today we have a lot of people. So the paperwork probably will not get back to the sheriff's department until about 3 o'clock today.
Yo soy responsable por procesar la documentación y en el día de hoy tenemos bastante personas, o sea que la documentación le debe llegar a la comisaría a eso de las 3 de la tarde del día de hoy.
However, your charges are set by schedule, which means they're already entered into the system. So you can start the procedure of trying to bond out now, either through a bonding company or through your family.
Sin embargo, sus cargos están, o sea, su fianza está fija por ley, o sea que ya esa información está en el sistema, lo que significa que usted puede ir haciendo las gestiones para pagar su fianza, ya sea con una compañía fiancista o con sus familiares. Yes.
Okay, sir, you're free to go back.
Ok, señor, puede retirarse.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Mr. Valdez,
Señor Valdés.
Bueno.
sir, can you see and understand the interpreter?
Señor, ¿puede usted ver y entender a la intérprete?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, sir, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. The bond is going to be set at $3,000.
Señora, usted se le acusa de un cargo de invasión o daños a la propiedad y su fianza va a ser de $3,000.
Do you believe you can post that bond?
¿Cree usted que va a poder pagar su fianza?
Sí.
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Itzel Mendoza Hernandez. Do you understand that?
I'm sorry, Judge, you said Giselle?
It's ITZEL.
Mendoza Fernández.
Yes.
Va a haber una orden en su fianza que dice que usted tiene que mantenerse alejado de Isel Mendoza Fernández. ¿Entiende usted eso?
Sí, pero es que ella vive en mi casa y ella no tiene para dónde ir.
Yes, but the thing is that she lives in my house and she doesn't have a place to go.
So she is listed as the victim in this case.
Ella está nombrada como la víctima en este caso.
Entonces,
And I'm not authorized to evict a victim out of the place that they live.
Y yo no estoy autorizado para desalojar a una víctima del lugar donde ellos viven.
So you are in the circumstance where you have allowed her to live in your house.
O sea que usted está en la circunstancia donde usted le ha permitido a ella vivir en su casa
And now she's being listed as a victim.
y ahora ella está nombrada como la víctima.
So I cannot order for her to be evicted out of your house.
O sea que yo no le puedo ordenar a ella que sea desalojada de su casa.
But because you are a person that's before me, I can order you to stay away from her.
Pero como usted es la persona que está ante mí, yo le puedo ordenar a usted que se mantenga alejado de ella.
This is a circumstance that can be resolved
Esta es una circunstancia la cual puede ser solucionada.
she just has to contact the Solicitor General's office to let them know that she does not fear you.
Ella solamente tiene que ponerse en contacto con la fiscalía y decirle que ella no le tiene miedo a usted.
¿sí está bien?
That's fine.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning.
Su audiencia preliminar va a estar fija para el día 29 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail.
Esa audiencia se cancela Tan pronto usted pague su fianza y usted recibiría un nuevo citatorio por correo.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
¿Le gustaría a usted que yo vea si usted califica para nombrarle un abogado?
Pues si tengo la fianza para pagar, pues ya no necesito el abogado porque puedo pagar hoy mismo.
If I have the money to pay the bond, then I won't need an attorney. I have the money to pay it today.
Okay. So do you want me to appoint a lawyer to you or not?
O sea, ¿que quiere usted que le nombre un abogado, sí o no?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you currently working?
¿Actualmente está usted trabajando? Yes.
How much do you make per hour or per month?
¿Cuánto gana usted por hora o por mes?
Pues yo tengo mi compañía de landscaping y cortar árboles y yo cobro por un contrato.
I have my landscaping company and I also cut trees and I charge per contract.
Okay, so give me your best estimate
Deme,
as to what you make per month.
deme su mejor estimado, un promedio de lo que usted gana por mes.
Cuando trabajo, que trabajo más o menos, pues a lo mejor gano como unos, ya lo que me queda a mí como unos 10,000 al mes a lo mejor.
When I work, whatever is left for me is about 10,000 a month.
Okay, that's gonna be more than what I can appoint a lawyer to represent you. So you're gonna have to hire your own lawyer.
Usted tendría que contratarse su propio abogado, porque eso es más de lo que yo podría usar para poder nombrarle un abogado. O sea, más de lo que usted debería de ganar, perdón.
Está bien.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, you're free to go back, sir.
Ok, señor, puede retirarse.
Una pregunta, ¿cuánto me dijo que tengo que pagar?
I have a question. How much did you say I have to pay?
$3,000. It's going to be a little bit more because there are going to be fees added that the sheriff's department has to add by law.
Es de $3,000. Va a ser un poquito más porque hay tarifas adicionales que la comisaría le tiene que añadir por ley.
¿Y a qué horas ya puedo pagar?
And at what time can I pay?
It's going to be today, but I'm the person that is responsible for filling out the paperwork and sending it back. So we'll say about 3 o'clock is the time that the paperwork will get back to the sheriff's department.
Va a ser en el día de hoy, pero yo soy la persona encargada de llenar la documentación y enviarla de regreso. O sea que va a ser a esos de las 3 de la tarde. La comisaría tendría la documentación.
Sí, está bien. Y le iba a decir una pregunta. ¿A qué número tiene que llamar mi novia, la que está en la casa, para que diga si ella puede estar ahí, si tiene miedo o no?
And I have another question. What is the phone number that the girlfriend can call so she can tell them whether she's afraid or not?
I don't have that number, but she can Google the phrase Clayton County Solicitor General.
Yo no tengo ese número, pero ella los puede buscar en Google como Clayton County Solicitor General. O sea, es la fiscalía del condado de Clayton.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's switch over to the ladies' side and let's deal with Miss Rose.
65 Fair Boulevard.
Okay, ma'am, can you see and hear the interpreter?
Señorita, ¿puede usted ver y entender a la intérprete?
Yes. Sí.
Ma'am, you've been charged with 2 counts of battery and 1 count of obstructing an officer.
A usted se le acusa de 2 cargos de agresión corporal y un cargo de impedir el trabajo de un oficial.
You're going to have a total bond set at $7,000. Can you pay that bond, ma'am?
Su fianza va a ser de un total de $7,000. ¿Va usted a poder pagar su fianza, señorita?
Sí.
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from now Gareth Gonzalez.
No, Caret González, o sea que va a haber una orden especial en su fianza que dice que usted tiene que mantenerse alejada de Nacarete González.
Do you understand that, ma'am?
¿Entiende usted eso, señorita?
Sí.
Yes.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out.
Usted va a tener una audiencia preliminar programada para el día 29 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana, pero esa audiencia se cancela tan pronto usted pague su fianza.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
¿Le gustaría a usted que yo vea si usted califica para nombrarle un abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay. Usted sí califica, señorita, y le voy a nombrar un abogado para que la represente. ¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí?
No.
No.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Ok, señorita, puede retirarse.
Okay, Ms. Bermudez, I think that ends our need for your services. I thank you and I bid you adieu
You are very
Great.
welcome, Judge.
until the next judge calls on you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good seeing you, Mr. Matthews.
Good seeing you.
Okay, so let's switch back over to the male side and let's deal with Mr. Chapman. And that's your client, correct, Mr. Matthews?
Yes, Your Honor.
Chapman's coming up.
So I apologize. I'm having to respond to my boss about a question that was sent to me. So, Mr. Chapman, I would normally address you directly, but you've hired a lawyer, Mr. Matthews, and so I'm going to be speaking to him regarding your case. I need you to know that anything you say during this proceeding is not private. So don't say anything you don't want the whole world to know, okay? All right. Mr. Matthews, Mr. Chapman is charged with entering an automobile, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of aggravated battery. He doesn't have an extensive criminal history, and this seems kind of weird to me. So I'm ready to hear whatever you have to say about your client as it relates to this charge and what bond should be set.
Judge, I don't have a great deal to say because I just got hired last night, but my client, he's from Ohio. I think I've been talking with his friend Adam, and my client was having some kind of a crisis. I'm not sure exactly what, but you know, I'm told that he doesn't have much of a record, and I believe he will return to court at the appropriate time. I would ask the court to consider setting bond for him. I believe he can make a bond in a reasonable amount. Only thing I know about the case is I did read a little something in the newspaper, and it was a situation, I believe, at the airport where, according to the newspaper, my client was armed and had the tables turned on him. Like I say, I haven't had a chance to speak with my client, and but I hope that the other person is okay. The article said he got stabbed, and I know my client got stabbed in the chest, but he's okay. He's out of the hospital. So I don't believe he's a flight risk nor a risk of committing other felonies. So we'd ask the court to consider a bond. I'd say, you know, maybe an aggregate bond in the neighborhood of 25,000, let's say, to cover all the charges.
This is, I mean, this is really a, you know, I'm a still, even though I'm here, I'm still a defense lawyer. I'm a part-time judge, part-time defense lawyer. So say it that way. Looking at this case, this is a case that ordinarily it would be no bond. And then I'm looking at no criminal history. And it doesn't seem to fit. Because the allegations are such that if true, there would be a question about whether your client should be released on bond, because the way that it was written was essentially that it was at the airport parking, employee parking space, and that he was entering a vehicle, and a person observed him entering their vehicle and went over to try to see what was going on. And then that person got stabbed a number of times. And from the warrant and what's written in the warrant is most of it was captured on video. So this is a situation where, from what's written to me, normally I would not give your client bond, but from looking at your client's history, it seems like this is something that is out of the norm. So I am going to give your client bond.
Thank you, Judge.
And it's just, I'll set it at the $25,000 figure that you suggested, but it's you know, I don't know. I mean, it's all I can say, Mr. Chapman, is that you're lucky to have a lawyer like Mr. Matthews here. And I'm glad, Ms. Matthews, that you're here, because in these circumstances, I really want to understand more, but I don't ever discuss the facts of the case with someone to try to gain that understanding. So I'm gonna set the bond at that amount. There's going to be a preliminary hearing that's going to be set for June 28th, but it'll get waived upon his bonding out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge.
June 28th, and he'll get a new court date in the mail. And Mr. Chapman, you need to really speak to your lawyer about this case and about whatever happened. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure Mr. Matthews can steer you in the right direction, so that you're not in this position again in the future. Is there anything else, Mr. Matthews, that you want to bring up with the court?
No, sir. We appreciate the bond, and as soon as I have an opportunity, I'll speak with Mr. Chapman about his case and find out what it was that happened between him and the other gentleman. And we appreciate the opportunity to try to post bond.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Matthews, you're free to go. Mr. Chapman, you're free to go back.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too. Okay, let's deal with Mr. Garland.
How you doing, young?
Okay, Mr. Garland, I'm going to tell you the same thing. I don't know if you heard me give the admonition to the last gentleman, but anything you say during this hearing will be heard by everyone. So don't say anything that you don't want the whole world to know. And I would normally speak to you directly, but you have taken advantage of the opportunity to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to be speaking to Mr. Cullen about your case. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Cullen, I go through all of these cases and I make preliminary decisions as it relates to bond. And in your client's case, I've denied bond on the aggravated assault charge. But I will listen to you as it relates to anything you want to tell me about your client in this case and bond.
Your Honor, I just wanted to let you know that in addition to me, Mr. Garland has hired Manny Aurora, so we're both here representing him. I
Okay.
apologize for the not having a notice of appearance, and we were just hired this morning. I think it's important for the court to understand the relationship between the alleged victim here and Mr. Garland before it makes a final decision on bond. The alleged victim is Titus Duffy, who is Mr. Garland's employee and nephew. And
Okay.
it's our position that Mr. Duffy was in a dispute with Mr. Garland about money, about payment. And Mr. Duffy attacked Mr. Garland, fired a shot or shots at him. Our client, Mr. Garland, returned fire. And that's not just speculation. The police found 2 sets of shell casings. Mr. Garland then extricated himself from the area, got to safety. So Mr. Duffy and his 2 sisters stayed there and were the first to talk to the police. So Mr. Duffy becomes the person listed as the victim, when in fact, he was the initial aggressor. Mr. Garland was stopped driving with his wife a ways away. He's clearly been in a physical altercation. He's bruised and bloodied. And so the police, take him in. They know that he's the person who was in this physical fight that turned into a gunfight with Mr. Titus Duffy. But this was essentially an employee attacking an employer. Mr. Garland has no fewer than 4 businesses in the Atlanta and Jonesboro area, which he maintains. He uses these businesses to care for his 4 children who also live here. He has deep ties to this area. He poses no danger to the community. This is not something we see Mr. Garland, doing repeatedly. There's no risk of him, any intimidation, pre-trial, anything like that, especially given the special conditions the court could place on Mr. Garland to stay away from Mr. Duffy. Essentially, Mr. Garland, we would request a $20,000 bond for Mr. Garland so that he can continue to maintain these businesses, continue to care for his 4 children, and be reunited with his wife. We feel that he is actually the victim here. He probably shouldn't have had a gun, but he was returning fire to defend himself. So that essentially, that fact combined with his good candidacy under the IALA factors, the bond factors, we feel militates strongly in favor of granting a bond.
Okay. I mean, the issue that I was concerned with in denying bond was the use of a firearm. Because I think in so many cases you have people who are just out in the public and they're struck by, you know, loose gunfire and that kind of thing. I will accept what you have said to me, Mr. Cullen, and I will grant a bond for Mr. Garland. I'm looking just at his criminal history. That's what I'm scrolling through right
Yes,
now.
Your Honor.
So Mr. Cullen, do you know about the I'm looking at a conviction from 2017. And it says sentence date is May 31st of 2017. And there was a 5-year probation for possession of firearm and knife during the commission of a crime.
Your Honor, I haven't had a chance to review his criminal history as thoroughly as we would have liked. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. What I do know is just what I've learned from witnesses about this exchange that took place between him and Mr. Duffy.
I did. I saw my probation judge, so I went and took my last alcohol and drug screening, so it was closing my case out before COVID. I talked to my probation officer. They told me I didn't need to do anything else. I wasn't reporting. I haven't given them any issues. So before COVID hit and the court shut down, they were closing my case out. I haven't been in any trouble since that incident.
Okay, Mr. Garland, I'm inclined to set you a bond, but if your case is not closed out, under 1710(1), there is a provision that there has to be a hearing as it relates to bond. My position as it relates to the COVID environment is to get people out as much as possible, so that the jail staff and the individuals are not having to deal with being in a enclosed environment as it relates to that. So I'm going to set you a bond, and total bond is going to be $25,000. It's going to be $20,000 for the aggravated assault, $5,000 for the reckless conduct. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond, stay away from Titus Duffy and looks like Shantika Hood. Do you understand that, Mr. Garland?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'm going to do. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 28th, but that date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. And Mr. Garland, you have an extensive criminal history, but it looks like you've been pretty, since this issue in 2017, that you've been doing well. So continue on that path, sir.
those charges I gotta get took out, Judge. They closed cases. I was working on that anyway. They did, well, not did, but most of them are dismissed. They just haven't taken them off my record yet.
Okay, Mr. Cullen, is there
Yes, Your
anything
Honor.
else, sir?
No, Your Honor. Thank you. We appreciate the bond. Thank you for listening to us today.
Okay, Mr. Cullen, you're free to go.
Thank you,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Garland, you're free to go back.
It's,
Okay, let's switch back over to the ladies.
What's your name? What's wrong with Ms. James? First up, Ms. James, Your Honor.
Okay, so Miss Forte, is she OTB?
Yes,
And Miss Griffin is OTB?
yes.
Okay. All right. You said Miss James. What about Miss Hill?
She's here, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Miss James.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you're charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, 1 count of driving on a suspended license, and 1 count of violation of Georgia seatbelt law. Your total bond is going to be set at $5,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes. Can I cover that up?
Okay, you're going to have a preliminary hearing. Excuse me, that's going to be set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, ma'am, you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir. I can pay the bond today, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can take them.
Next is Ms. Hill.
Go back to them. I can ask them if I can use the phone. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Hill, you've been charged with 1 count of forgery in the 3rd degree. This is listed as a felony. Your bond is going to be set at $7,000. You believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
No, sir. Can I get a small reduction?
Okay, let me look. Let's see. I'm taking a look at your criminal history. I gotta scroll down to it. Hmm. For some reason, it doesn't appear that I have your criminal history. It goes from G to J. And you are Miss Hill, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ma'am, the allegation is that you took 6 checks and that you altered them in a way that you could deposit the money into your account. And I'm not asking you to say anything about the facts of your case. In fact, I'm asking you not to say anything about the facts of your case. So when I sit and I'm trying to determine what is the appropriate bond amount, I look at the allegations, and based upon this, the allegation is that this was done 6 times. I don't have your criminal history here, so what I'll do, ma'am.
Your Honor, I don't have a criminal history. I've only been arrested for this violation, and I was arrested for marijuana, which I was given community service for.
So that being, and that's fine. You honestly didn't even have to tell me that. I'm gonna reduce the bond to $5,000. Okay,
Yes,
this
sir.
is a felony offense. The bond here, I'm sorry, preliminary hearing is gonna be set for June 28th. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Huh. Did you fill out one of the forms, ma'am, for the appointment of counsel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't have one. Oh, here we go. I do. You do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
Okay, Your Honor, the female.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. So, Miss, I have a Erlonius Terrell. It's the last person that I have.
Terrell.
It's listed as a female, but you know the name is Erlonius Crizella Terrell, so I can't tell.
I believe she's OTB, Your Honor, because whenever I looked up this morning, it didn't have a cell assigned to her.
Okay.
So she didn't have no information in the system as it relates to that.
Okay.
What I can do
See,
for
I see you read it, you wrote OTB on their form.
right. So what I can do after we get off here, Yana, I'll go back and I'll look in the system again just to check CPU, just to, you know, check and make sure we didn't overlook her and she being here and just not showing up in the system whenever we looked her up this morning.
Okay, make that check, because the way that her charges are written, it shouldn't be something that she could bond out on.
Yeah, and I looked, and that's why I looked at that as well this morning too. And I found it odd that she wasn't showing up in the system, and the charges would not just be set by schedule for that.
Okay, I mean, I'll be here, as the comics say, I'll be here all week.
Right.
So I'll be able to deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your assistance, sir. Welcome back from vacation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Miss Adamson, I'm gonna send the information to you. I just saw your text message, chat message. Let's see.
Hey, Your Honor, on the mail side, can you do Mr. Stewart first? He's having a medical problem. He wants to get back to medical.
Yes, sir. You can bring him up. I'm just typing a message to Miss Adamson. Okay, Mr. Stewart, hang with me, sir. I'll be with you in a brief second. So, so, Mr. Stewart, you've been charged with a number of offenses. And I've set bond on all of these offenses. You just want me to tell you the total bond amount? Okay. I got to add it up. So by my math, your total bond is $34,000, $500. $34,500. $34,500.
Thank you, sir.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date that's gonna be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. You'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, sir, because I'm gonna hire one when I get out.
Okay. If you don't have any questions for me, Mr. Stewart, you're free to go back.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Who's next? Mr. Arnold?
Mr. Atkinson, Arnold was fugitive.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Atkinson, you've been charged with violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, possession with intent to distribute, possession of these ecstasy pills for distribution, possession of firearm during the commission of crime, possession of firearm. Bond is going to be denied at this point on these offenses. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to also set a bond hearing date for July 2nd. See. All right. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. No.
Okay. You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. If you look at my record, I just completed first offender probation for my felony, so I'm not a convicted felon. It's probably just still on my record. How long does it take for they dismiss it off the record? Or I don't know how to go about that situation, but I wouldn't even have no firearm if I would have known I was convicted felon. I just got out of Clayton County last April or March, completing my first offender probation. I don't see how it's still saying I'm a convicted felon.
Well, that's going to be something that is going to always be true. That is never going to go away. You can go through the process of having your rights restored through the Board of Pardons and Parole. And basically it's something where they will issue a pardon to you and say, okay, we're going to forgive him for that incident. But unless and until you go through that process, you're going to always be considered a convicted felon.
So what's the reason my bond is being denied?
Let me see. I'm looking back at this. All right, so I'm sorry. So there are 13 cycles that are related to your criminal history. And the last, the last thing I saw was there was something related to a failure to appear on March 16th of last year, related to a possession of marijuana less than an ounce.
Yes, sir, but I haven't received any mail. Like the address that they have on file for that, I don't stay there anymore, so I don't know nothing about the court yet. I don't know.
Okay,
No,
so let me look at this again, Mr. Atkinson.
thank you, Your Honor.
Chat, who's chat?
He's finished already.
Okay, you finished? Tillman.
He's 24.
So when I read this again, the thing that stuck out in my mind was the 38, said multiple bags packed with 38 MDMA ecstasy pills. And looking at your criminal history, that's a concern that I have.
I understand you have them packaged up, but I had them packaged up that way to budget myself. So I want, you know what I'm saying? So I won't build a tolerance and just abuse the drug. Like I had it set to where I won't be abusing the drug. I actually take those things.
Okay, so Mr. Axon, what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna set you a bond for these felony offenses, but it's gonna be at $5,000 a piece, so it's gonna have a total bond of $20,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. One.
So you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th. That date's gonna get waived upon your bonding out. And you'll receive a new court date in the mail. I've appointed you a lawyer. Do you have anything else for me, Mr. Axon?
No, sir.
Okay, sir, you're free to go back.
Your Honor, can we get a, Mr. Tillman, so we can see them?
So it was buffering, so I couldn't understand what you said. Could you restate that?
Miss Terrell or Terrell is in medical. Can
Okay,
we do, Mr. Bird and Tillman so that we can take them to medical and bring her back? So we can just take one trip up to medical.
sure.
Okay.
So, hey, deputy,
Yes, sir.
I am going to acquiesce to whatever you need to do on your side to get your job done. Okay, so just as I understand it, you're taking two individuals to medical, and who are they?
Bird and Tillman, and we'll bring Terrell back.
Okay. Okay, so Tillman and you said Berg?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Bird, okay. All right. And then, okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, so we'll go to Bailey next. Mr. Bailey?
Mr. Bird. Bird, then Tillman.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you want me to do Bird and Tillman next?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are Mr. Bird.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bird, you charge one count of giving an inmate guns, drugs, or alcohol, and one count of interference with government property. I've set a total bond of $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
What?
Oh.
I'm not understanding the charge. You said gun? I'm locked up. How can I give somebody a gun and I'm locked up?
So the specific allegation, that's just like a title of the offense, but the specific allegation is a razor blade, knife, or shank.
I haven't been claiming for any charge of previous charge. How can I be charged?
Okay, can you restate that? Because you're buffering, so I didn't get the whole statement.
This charge you're charging with. Charge I'm not claiming.
Okay, it's no. So, Mr. Bird, it seems like a technology problem that's going on right now. So let's try to make sure we can. Okay.
Okay, Your Honor, ready.
Deputy Cox,
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm gonna get it right.
it's all of that vacation time you took. Yeah, I'm just joking with you. Everybody went off on the sheriff's side. So, Mr. Byrd, can you restate what you were saying? Because it was buffering, so I could not understand you.
I have not been fingerprinted on the charge that I'm charged with now. So how can I be charged with this charge?
So being fingerprinted doesn't equate to an allegation. So I can say that you took my money, but your defense cannot be, I wasn't fingerprinted on this, so how can Judge Gardner accuse me of taking his money? So it's like a sort of a process argument that you're making as it relates to it. I mean, from these charges, you had to have been within the jail to obtain these charges. So maybe you weren't fingerprinted on these charges because you were fingerprinted already and they have your fingerprints. But I don't know, but I'm just saying that's to me like a logical response to that. So I set the bond at $5,000, $3,000 for the shank and $2,000 for the interference with government property. So I assume, and I don't have your whole information, so I assume that you're being held on charges either where you don't have a bond or you couldn't make the bond. So I don't know if making a bond on these charges will be anything that benefits you. I don't. Do you have a lawyer?
Sir.
Do you want me to appoint a new or appoint a different lawyer for this charge, or do you want just to remain with the same lawyer? Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Byrd? Okay. So I'm going to let you go back, sir, and let you go to medical.
Well, Phil. He's over in the corner. That's him right there.
Mr. Tillman. I'm pulling out your paperwork, sir. Give me a second. You're charged with, excuse me, 1 count of battery, 1 count of criminal trespass. I've set your bond at $8,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Can you post the bond, yes or no?
Okay, so it seems like these charges grew out of your being at Riverwoods Behavioral Health. So would you like for me to appoint you a lawyer, sir?
Yes, you want, yes.
Okay. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you, Mr. Tillman. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Tillman?
You got any questions, yes or no?
You have any questions? You did. Okay.
All right, Your Honor, I have Mr. Bailey.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, sir, you're charged with one count of simple battery, family violence, and 2 counts of theft by taking, one related to a vehicle and one related to the keys for the vehicle. You're gonna have a total bond set at $17,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Could you give me a little lower than that, sir, please? I'm having trouble at 17.
So, as it relates to the bond, the breakdown of it, the most of it is related to the taking of the vehicle. There's a $10,000 bond related to that, $2,000 bond related to the taking of the keys, and a $5,000 bond related to the battery.
I understand that. I returned the vehicle to the female, to the person.
I'm sorry, say that again, sir.
I returned the vehicle to her. The next day, I returned the vehicle to her. So the vehicle got returned, no problem with the vehicle, no nothing. She's still driving the vehicle to this day.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, Mr. Bailey, just to keep this whole thing moving, I'm gonna reduce the bond to 5,000 on the vehicle. So you're gonna have a total bond set at $12,000.
Okay, yes, sir.
These are felony offenses that you're charged with. So you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Bailey. So I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. So, do you have any questions for me, Mr. Bailey? You said no?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, you're free to go back.
I have Mr. Dukes.
Mr. Dukes, you're charged with one count of window tint violation, one count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act with THC oil. I've set a total bond for you at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
The THC oil is a felony offense, so you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you do qualify, Mr. Dukes. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Do I have to pay the whole 5,000?
No, you can go through a bonding company and you can pay a percentage of the bond, roughly about 10%, which would be like $500, $600.
Okay.
All right, you're free to go back, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Foss.
Okay, Mr. Faust, sir, you're charged with one count of battery, one count of criminal trespass. I've set a total bond at $8,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a stay away provision on your bond to stay away from a Jacola Little. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your preliminary hearing date is going to be set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will receive a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Faust. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
That'll be all.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Gearing,
Mr. Gearing, sir, you're charged with a number of drug-related offenses and weapon offenses. So, 2 counts of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, 1 count of possession or use of drug-related object, another violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act charge, possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. So I've set bond on all of these offenses, but you're gonna have a total bond set at $31,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Sir.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your posting bond, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sir.
Okay. How much do you make per hour or per month?
I go to work like every day of the week. Like 15 per hour.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
All right, thank you.
Do you have any questions for me?
Sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Gearing,
That's me.
oh, my bad. Mr. Gray,
Okay. Mr. Gibbs is OTB.
yeah, it says not active, so I'm guessing it is OTB.
Okay. Mr. Gray, sir, you're charged with improper lane change, driving the vehicle with no insurance, driving the vehicle without a valid license, and driving the vehicle on an expired tag. All of these offenses, the bonds are set by schedule, which means they're automatically set. So you're gonna have a total bond of $3,000. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
Not likely.
Okay.
Possible, not likely.
There's going to be a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get reset or changed if you bond out. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Sure. Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Gray. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Pulling my bond since I'm from out of state. Is it possible if I still bond out, or does somebody have to be from Georgia, a Georgia resident, or anyone, my family members from Texas or Alabama, can they bond me out?
Let me break that question down into chunks. If you're going through a bonding company, the bonding company, companies have their own rules. So whatever rules that they have, that's what you have to comply with. If you're talking about someone delivering the full amount of the bond to the sheriff's department to hold until your case is resolved, then anybody can do that. So you're going to have to get on the phone with the bonding companies and see what they're willing to do. You could also have a situation where sometimes I've seen where, let's say you're from, it was Houston, Texas? So you're from Houston, Texas. Sometimes you can contact the bonding company there, and they will contact the bonding company in Clayton County, and they'll make arrangements where the two of them will work together to bond you out.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back.
Hayes. Mr. Hayes,
Okay. Mr. Hayes, how are you doing, sir? So, You're charged with a number of offenses that I cannot set bond on. Kidnapping and assault, aggravated assault. I have set bond on the cruelty to children in third degree, those two counts, and the use or possession of drug-related objects. I could set bond on those, but I could not set bond on the other offenses.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
You know, I think these charges came after my original charges. I don't know. I didn't have them when I first came to the jail, so I don't know. But if you could please set a bond on so I can handle all these.
So, Mr. Hayes, you were buffering a little bit, so I didn't hear everything that you had to say. So I'll let you restate what you just said, just to be fair to you. So tell me what you were saying before from the beginning.
When I originally came to the jail, I didn't have any of those charges. Like, I only had like some drug charges. But those charges, I guess, came out. I don't have there's no violence incorporated in it. No one was harmed or anything of that nature. And I think I have a better chance handling it outside of jail than inside of jail. So if Your Honor, please could set bond on all charges, and maybe I could, go ahead and bond out. And that would be the end of that, and handle it from, the street. I don't think I would have a chance trying to handle these charges in jail. I mean, most of them are fictitious anyway. I think I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's the way it is written up, Mr. Hayes. There's some serious allegations.
This is just a bunch of lies. I was at a quick, I was at a gas station, so I don't know how stuff is. It just don't add up. It's just not gonna make sense. But if you could, Your Honor, please.
I'm trying to take a look back at your criminal history. Give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I don't have your criminal history.
I never had any charge like this ever before in my life, so I ain't got no history of nothing like that.
So, Mr. Hayes, So, Mr. Hayes, the thing that caused the concern for me is the allegation of your pulling out a firearm.
I've never.
And so I don't really, I'm not trying to engage you in a conversation about it, because these are issues that you really need to speak to a lawyer about.
That never happened, sir.
So were you previously convicted of aggravated assault on October 19th, 2018 in Clayton County?
No, sir.
You were not.
No, sir.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look it up. If you know that you were, Mr. Hayes, this is the time to tell me before I look it up. You're gonna stick to that you were not convicted?
Yes, sir, I was not.
So I'm looking at something that shows that you were charged with aggravated assault October 24th of 2017. You're represented by the Public Defender's Office. You had a bond with special conditions on November 13th, 2018. So you're saying that was not you,
I have no convictions on the aggravated assault, sir.
but you did get arrested.
I don't really recall, probably such, but I don't recall being charged.
Mr. Hayes, Mr. Hayes,
Yes, sir.
I'm not here to play games.
Yes, sir.
You know whether you were arrested
Yes,
on
sir.
an aggravated assault charge in 2017, yes or no?
Yes, sir. I never was convicted on any charge like that, though.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm just
Okay.
going on these charges. This officer said I can't go into detail about any charges.
No, I'm not asking you. You asked me to review it, and I went back to review it. And based upon what I've seen, I cannot set you bond.
I have never had no convictions on that, sir, or anything.
Okay, I understand that. Based upon what I've seen, I cannot set you bond. Okay.
So what's the bond on the other charge? Or how does this work?
You can't get out if you have a no bond. You gotta have bond on all the charges.
Please, Your Honor. I need.
No, sir. No, sir. No. I don't know what happened. I know the allegations. You've asked me to look into it. I've looked into it. And based upon what I've seen, I'm not going to set you bond.
You have any other questions?
He has a bond hearing date of July 2nd, sorry. Preliminary hearing date of June 28th. And I do not know. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I know, I would, it says here that I have, I mean, you said bond on a couple of charges, but I don't know if I qualify for it. That's fine, you guys, that's well. I was just I prayed.
He was asking, do you want him to see if you can get on the phone?
Yes. I just prayed.
Mr. Hayes, are you currently working?
No, sir.
Okay, you qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions for me, Mr. Hayes?
Yes, sir. You said you would set bond on a number of charges, but the other ones you weren't. Did you give me the bond on the other charges?
Yes, there's a $3,000 bond on the cruelty to children. 2 counts. So there's 2 $3,000 bonds. There's a $1,500 bond on the use or possession of drug-related objects. Everything else, the felony charges, no bond. Okay? All right, you're free to go back, Mr. Hayes.
Man, it's either way you can just like.
I'll say that. Mr. Jones?
Okay. Mr. Jones, sir, you charged 1 count of simple battery, family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass, damage to property. I've set a total bond at $8,000. You believe you can post that bond, sir?
You can reduce it.
Can I do what?
Reduce it.
No.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Angela Scandrett. Do you understand that? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out. You get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
You can.
I'm sorry?
Yes, you can.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Joseph?
Mr. Joseph, you've been charged with 1 count of laying drag, 1 count of open container, 1 count of DUI, 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. I've set a total bond at $7,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir? I'm sorry. Did you say yes or did you say no? Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Lewis?
Mr. Lewis, sir, you've been charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, 2 counts of cruelty to children, 1 count of a red light violation, and 1 count of obstructing an officer, and 1 count of fleeing from an officer. I'm not allowed to set a bond on the aggravated assault charge at this point. So bond is going to be denied on that. Bond is also going to be denied on the cruelty to children in first degree. I'm going to allow the next judge to set bond as it relates to those 2 offenses. I've set bond at $2,000 on the cruelty to children in third degree, $500 on the red light violation, $1,500 on the obstructing an officer, and $1,500 on the fleeing from an officer. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm also going to set a bond hearing date for July 2nd. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
I can go there to pay all the rest of those bonds off and those charges will go away. And I only just have those two last charges, right? So I can bond out on the rest of the charges. I can pay the bond for the rest of the charges, right? And they'll just hold me for the last 2 charges, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the total for all those, the ones you gave me a bond for? What's the total?
5,500.
Okay. We'll pay like 600 to get out?
Yes, but you gotta deal with the no bond issue. Okay.
All right.
All right, you're free to go back, sir.
Mr. Lewis? Mr. Lattimore?
Mr. Latimer, sir, you charged 1 count of simple battery. Bond's going to be set at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Well, can you consider your honor due to the fact that I'm at home taking care of my mother and ain't nobody there with her. I have to stay out work. That's what I do. I take care of my mother. She's 83 years old, and I got to get back over to her. Can you consider an order for that?
So $5,000 is the lowest that I set for battery family violence.
Okay.
So you're already at the floor. There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Tamara Grice. Do you understand that? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Did you say yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Lattimore. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Murray?
Ms. Murray, you're charged with 1 count of driving on a suspended license, 1 count of improper turn, 1 count of open container, and 1 count of a child restraint violation. You're going to have a total bond that's going to be set at $3,000. You believe you can post that bond, sir?
Yes, sir. I had one question.
Yes, sir.
I have a pickup truck and I have trash bags in the back of my truck, and the officer went through each bag trying to find an empty container, and he found one that didn't have a dent in it and charged me for that container. I was going to take my trash out. I turned and he tried to charge me for illegal tent. I asked him to check my tent. He checked it, it was not illegal. So therefore he said, well, since I can't get you for that, I'm just gonna get you for an illegal turn. So, you know, and I have a kind of a hot rod truck. So every time I'm in my truck, I'm being tailed and followed by these police, no matter where I go. If I go to the gas station, and they do funny things like circle my vehicle, like trying to, you know, play games with me. And I don't understand what that. I just thought that I would put that out there for the record, that I'm scared to leave my house or just go to the gas station because of where my truck looks. So I mean, this officer turned around, he turned around in the middle of traffic just because he saw my truck. He was never behind me. And then he says terms that he says terms when he pulled me out the car that I won't even try to say in front of you, you know, but this is what I'm being told one-on-one with him. So, you know, and my license is suspended because of child support, which I did not know. I would not have been driving.
Okay, so Mr. Murray, do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. You also are free to sue the county.
That's what I would like to do too.
If you believe that you're being harassed and you're being treated in an unfair manner, you may want to hire your own lawyer first, though.
Right, and I also have, it was like a crowd started to form because they got it on tape, and one lady said, "Hey, I seen what he was doing to your truck down the street. It's like they're playing a game, like playing jokes with me. You know, like swerving behind my truck and coming up behind me real close, but not turning their lights and then backing off and then coming close, and it's making me like, you know, how you singling me out." Like pretty much because, you know, I like to have nice things. I got a big truck on 26s, you know, so am I just supposed to leave the park? I can't drive this. Why am I going this way? And y'all see my truck and automatically just come behind me. And then on top of that, play like a tailing game, you know? And if you can't get me with the legal tent, you say, well, hey, I'll get you. That means that I'm being labeled as a criminal as soon as I step out my door.
So, Mr. Murray, I'll say this to you. And I've never seen your truck, but from the description that you're giving, is your truck is something that draws attention. And now it's like you're drawing kind of the attention that you don't want. So, as they would say, what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, meaning that when you do something to draw attention to yourself, you're going to draw positive attention, you're going to draw negative attention. And I have no idea what this situation is. You can hire your own lawyer, you can pursue whatever avenues are there that are available to you. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can I personally ask you, because he asked about my commercial driver license. So that was an issue to him. And therefore he went and dug out a beer can out the back of my truck and trash bags to give me this. So I'm asking that charge there singly be dropped because I asked for a breathalyzer to see if I've been drinking at all. That wasn't ignored, but you know,
I cannot. And the reason is that this is not an adversarial hearing, which means I don't have the other side there to tell me their position. So I don't have the officer here to tell me his position. So I can't just unilaterally make a decision based upon one side of the story.
Yeah, but with an open container, isn't a breathalyzer test, an alcohol test usually conducted with that?
No, not necessarily. Because you do not have to submit to breathalyzer, blood, or urine. So there's no correlation between the two. What you're doing and where you are now, these are what we call mere allegations that somebody said you did something. That officer, they're going to have to get up on the stand and they're going to have to present their evidence to sway a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that you did what he's alleging that you did. So they have that burden, and you're going to be able to have a lawyer to represent you and defend yourself.
All right.
Okay.
So the bond was set.
It was let's see. No. Yes, $3,000.
So 10% that'd be about $300.
Yes, sir.
And these are the bond loans. Okay, I mean, I can work with everything else.
Okay, well, good luck to you, Mr. Murray. You're free to go back, sir. Mr. Ogletree? Mr. Ogletree, sir, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery, 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So I've set a total bond of $25,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir. Can you know it, sir?
No. No.
This have, sir, some of the charges the officer put on there, and then I really didn't do nothing. I just left, because it was, you know, me and my girl, we've been together like 7 years. Then I've been knowing since second grade, we grew up together, and it was just a misunderstanding. I just talked a little. Offset called my phone, and I tried to call back to see what's going on. So I was just leaving, you know, keep conversation straight from the phone while they come back. And then next thing I know, they came and locked me up. I don't know what aggravated assault charge. Aggravated assault.
So the allegation as it relates to the aggravated assault is that you pointed a gun at Miss Benton and threatened to shoot her.
Oh no, like I only own a gun. She have a gun.
Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Ogletree. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You need to tell the lawyer that defense that you have, because the lawyer is the person that's in the position to help you as it relates to that. There's going to be a stay away provision on your bond, stay away from Bridget Benton.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. She just was mad because I didn't get enough promoted.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any other questions for me, Mr. Ogletree?
Yes, sir. You said you can't lower that because I have a job I'm trying to get to. I'm self-contract over at Herman Brothers.
No, I'm not. I mean, these are aggravated assault is something that I honestly have to struggle with because
I guarantee you, I would not come forward, I would prove no wrong.
Okay, so I'm not going to change it, Mr. Ogletree. Is there anything else, sir?
Please, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Pitter.
Okay, sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery. Bond's going to be set at $5,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Kenneth McKenzie. Do you understand that? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived when you're bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay, you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Ransom.
Mr. Ransom, sir, you're charged with 1 count of obstructing an officer, 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime, 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and 1 count of open container violation. You're gonna have a total bond set at $12,000. You believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date that's gonna be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Not at this moment.
Okay, you're free to go back. Deputy Cox, are you coming back with the person that we were talking about earlier?
Yes, sir. Terrell?
Yes, sir. Ms. Terrell, ma'am, you've been charged with one count of criminal damage to property in the second degree. It's being charged as a felony. So I've set a bond of $4,000. You believe you can post that bond? No? Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Are you currently working, ma'am?
Yes.
About how much do you make per hour or per month?
I just got a new job. I make $17.50 an hour.
Okay, so you do qualify, ma'am. We're going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Your preliminary hearing date is currently set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. So I'm going to set a stay away provision on this bond. And it's hard for me to read the handwriting, but it looks like they're saying the Zachary Palvin.
Dalvin Zachary.
Palvin Zachary. Okay.
Dalvin, D-A-L-V-I-N.
Dalvin. Okay, that makes way more sense. It looks like a P the way that it's written. So I'm going to set a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Dalvin Zachary. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about that?
No, sir.
Okay, ma'am, you're free to go back.
Okay, Your Honor, that completes that individual.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Cox.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reese?
Okay, Mr. Reese. Sir, you're charged one count of simple battery. The bond has been set at $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from Jalen Reese. Do you understand that? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Oh, no, I don't.
You're going to hire your own lawyer? Okay. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Oh, no, sir. Hold on. Can you run by me one more time? I want to make sure I heard you.
$2,000.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're free to go back, sir.
Mr. Thompson?
So, Mr. Thompson, I'm setting a bond on all of these offenses. You've been charged with charged with 14 offenses. Do you want me to tell you to bond them out for each, or do you want me to just tell you the total bond amount?
You can tell us one for each of them, or not a whole.
I'm sorry, you said for each?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you ready? So for the fleeing from a police officer, bond's going to be set at $2,000. The obstruction of a police officer, bond's going to be set at $2,000. You got 2 counts of aggravated assault on a police officer. I've set the bond at $5,000 apiece on those. Striking a fixed object, hit and run, bond is automatically set at $1,500. There's a hit and run, leaving the scene of an accident, bond is set at $3,000. There's a violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act with possession of a drug that they believe to be prohibited. I set the bond at $3,000. There's an open container violation, bond is set at $500. Red light violation, the bond is set at $1,000. I'm sorry. Reckless driving, the bond is set at $1,000. Red light violation, the bond is set at $500. Driving on the wrong side of a divided highway, basically driving on the wrong side of the road, bond is set at $500. Improper lane change, bond set at $500. Driving on a suspended license, bond is set at $1,500. And driving a vehicle without a valid license, bond is set at $1,000. So that's the total amount. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date that's gonna be set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. And that date will get, wait a minute, sorry. June 28th is gonna be the preliminary hearing date. Because the aggravated assault and obstruction and fleeing, eluding, they charge those as felonies. So preliminary hearing date is gonna be set for June 28th for all of this. But upon your bonding out, you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Okay. So you do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
Mr. Toby?
Mr. Toby, you're charged with 1 count of trafficking marijuana. I cannot set bond for this offense at this hearing pursuant to statute code section 17-6-1A10. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date that's gonna be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. I'm also setting a bond hearing date for you for July 2nd. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. I will also, I don't have any priors. I'm not a flight risk. I have no issue returning for my court date. I don't have, like I said, I don't have any prior drug convictions or anything. Like I said, I'm not a flight risk. I have a job. I have a home to take care of my family. Like I said, I don't want no warrants. I don't want anything to come back on me while I'm out, because I do have family out here in Fairborn. I don't want to seem as if I'm a risk or anything. You can check my record. I have no problem returning, paying any kind of restitution, anything, but I do have to take care of my family and attend to my responsibilities, Your Honor. And I'm not, like I said, once again, I'm not a flight risk, and I don't have an issue taking care of my business out here as far as this case matter.
So, Mr. Toby, the problem is that I cannot set bond. I had been setting bond on these offenses, and I went back and looked at the statute, and so marijuana over 10 pounds is considered trafficking. If it was 9 pounds, I'd set bond. Anything over 10 pounds, I cannot. It's just, I would be violating the law if I did that. So I have at least 5 or 6 of these cases a week, and I do the majority of the first appearance, and they're coming from Las Vegas, LAX, Portland, Seattle, and majority of the people are people that only have, like, 1 or 2 arrests in their history, if that. But I'm saying it has nothing to do with you.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying it has nothing to do with you. I just can't. I cannot.
So I have to, so my next court date is June 28th.
That's the next court date that has been set. And you're coming up as no record on file as it relates to your criminal history. So I'm just saying, it would be improper for me to get into any discussions as it relates to your case. That should be between you and your lawyer. But I'm just saying, I can't. I mean, you could be my best friend, and I would have to tell you the same thing. I cannot.
I completely understand that. So what was the fact of the matter for July?
That was the bond hearing. So let me explain it to you. Here's a process whereby your lawyer can discuss a consent bond with the district attorney, and the district attorney, the basic position of a judge is that if the parties agree, hey, I'll sign it. So if your lawyer gets the district attorney to agree to a bond in your case, and they present it to a judge, the judge will sign it, and you'll get out before that date.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay. So you said no bond, right?
Yes, sir.
And next court date, June 28th?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Next is Vickers.
Mr. Vickers, sir, you're charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and 1 count of violation of Georgia seatbelt law. Your total bond is going to be set at $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much do you earn per hour or per month?
I make 11 or 12 an hour.
Okay. You do qualify, sir. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any other questions for me? Okay, you're free to go back.
$3,000.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Are you Mr. Willingham? Sir, you're charged with 1 count of family violence battery, 1 count of cruelty to children in 3rd degree, 1 count of theft by taking, and 1 count of terroristic threats. I've set a bond in each one of these offenses. Your total bond is going to be set at $20,000. Do you believe you can post that bond? Would you like me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? Hey, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. The theft by taking, terrorist threats, or felony offenses, you're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for June 28th at 8:30 in the morning. One second. Mistake. Yep. So, do you have any questions of me, sir?
Could you repeat it again?
I'm sorry, could I repeat what?
You said June 28th
Yes, sir.
at 8:30?
Yes, sir. And currently those hearings are being held by Zoom. So I believe they will be by Zoom at that point. If not, then you'll receive a notice as to whether we're doing in-court sessions.
Okay.
All right, anything else, sir?
You said my bond is 20,000?
Yes, sir. All right, you're free to go back. Mr. Zachary, sir, you're charged with 1 count of battery. Bond is going to be set at $5,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
There's going to be a stay away provision on this bond to stay away from an erroneous terror. Do you understand that? You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for June 29th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you get a new court date in the mail. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer? I'm sorry, did you say yes? Okay. All right, sir, you do qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Okay, Your Honor, the next two we're doing is gonna be fugitives.
Okay.
The first one will be Mr. Arnold.
All right. Mr. Arnold, sir, all of the rights and privileges that I explained to everyone in the beginning, they apply to you also. This hearing is one where you're not being held because you're being charged with committing an offense in Clayton County. You're being held because there's apparently a warrant for your arrest out of Washington, DC for false statements regarding a firearm. And they indicated that they want to bring you back or extradite you back to that jurisdiction to answer to those charges. You have a right to fight their request for the extradition. And generally what would happen is there'd be a hearing in this jurisdiction sometime within the next 30 days. And the judge is going to determine whether you are the person named in the warrant and whether those charges are charges that exist in Washington, D.C. If the judge makes that determination, then the judge will sign off on the writ for you to be returned to Washington, D.C., and they'll have 60 days from the time of that writ for you to come and get you. You can decide today that you don't want to fight this. You believe you're the person named in the warrant. You believe that these charges are potentially valid. And you can say, I don't want to fight it. I'll waive that hearing. And then that clock begins to run today.
I just got one question.
Yes, sir.
Right, so whatever, I know what they're talking about, but everything they accuse. So what will have to be done to Washington?
Okay, so you buffered. So I heard like everything there. I did not hear anything after everything they're accusing me of. So can you start from there?
Whatever they're accusing me of, I've never been to Washington, D.C., so why do I have to be extradited to Washington, D.C.? That's what I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
So the charge says that the ATF, which is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, that they're warning you as it relates to a false statements charge. And they put the warrant number 760-510-21-0020. So in Clayton County, we would not delve into the merits of your case, meaning whether you did it, didn't do it, whether you were ever in DC, not in DC, any of that stuff. We would not delve into that. You could be wrongly charged with this, and you would still get extradited up to DC to deal with the charge. So my background is as a criminal defense lawyer for more than 20 years. You're gonna have to address this charge, and you need to get your mind set on, one, I need to get me a lawyer to deal with this, or you can wait until you get there and a lawyer be appointed to represent you.
Another question.
Yes, sir.
Whenever I do get there, wherever I'm going, if I get a bond, can my family that lives in Georgia bond me out from wherever I'm at out there?
Yes.
From Georgia, they can do it from Georgia?
Yes.
All right. So from here, they're gonna extra. How long does it take to extradite somebody?
So they get a first crack is 30 days. They can request an additional 30 days. Some go faster, some go slower. I have no idea. I cannot tell you a date that they're going to come and get you. I can only tell you that they have up to 60 days. The people that work in the fugitive squad, in the sheriff's department, they do this all day. So they can give you a better understanding of the likelihood of when someone will come and get you. What's your next question?
They saying that I'm a fugitive, but I never ran and I never had nobody charge me or charge me with anything. However, I did get a warning, sign a straw purchasing warning, but I ain't never, how am I being labeled as a fugitive?
So it's a term of art. It's just a label. Everybody is labeled a fugitive from justice that's in your position. And it's just a label.
So regardless, I gotta fight this from Washington, D.C.
I'm sorry?
Regardless, I gotta fight this in Washington, D.C. and it takes up to 30 to 60 days for them to come get me and take me out.
Yes. I've had clients before in the past where they've hired my law firm. They're charged with something. They're sitting in jail as you are. They're sitting in jail in Miami, and they're charged with something here in Atlanta. And they hire our law firm to go and negotiate a bond and negotiate them getting out. That's something that is potentially on the table, but it's a proactive move that you have to make, because like with this saying the ATF, they may not be as interested if it's just like, Jonesboro Police Department, because they have to expend the resources to have someone travel up to Washington, D.C. and bring you back, and they have to pay for that. A lot of times, hold on. A lot of times you get a lawyer, that lawyer negotiates with the jurisdiction up there, they'll agree to a bond, and you post that bond up there, and then they'll contact Clayton County and say, hey, y'all can release him. And then you're under the obligation of the bond requirements that your lawyer negotiated up in Washington, D.C. But we are simply holding you. If they call today and said release you, guess what? You're going out the front door. Have no obligation or no concern about your charges or any allegations that are being levied against you. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it makes sense. So at this, I'm sorry, that continue.
So do you have an understanding of what you want to do?
I mean, it's only, when you put it like that, it's only it's only one option really, to get extradited and handle the matter, because I can't afford a lawyer to fight for me to do that. I just gotta go through the process, right or wrong.
Yes, and you can, I mean, you can sign the waiver today, and that starts the clock ticking. You can also, while the clock is ticking, try to get you a lawyer to deal with the situation up there, because that's you're gonna have to address it. I mean, it's not gonna be something that you can run away from. So good, bad, or ugly, you're gonna have to address it.
I was never trying to run. I just was not aware of this. I didn't know of this. Like, I had got my warning, and I thought that was over. I thought that was the end. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah. So, even like with the scenario of they're not coming to get you, and the sheriff's department in Clayton County releases you, it doesn't mean the warrant goes away. And you can walk out the front door 5 minutes later, you encounter a police officer, they run your name, they say you got a warrant for your arrest, they can put you back in jail, and you start the whole process over again. So the best thing for you to do is to deal with this head on.
Meaning sign the waiver so to be extradited to wherever I gotta go and do that. All right.
Okay, so you're gonna sign the waiver?
Yes, sir.
Deputy, do you have a waiver for him to sign? Okay. All right, so Mr. Arnold, if you don't have any more questions, once you sign the waiver, you're free to go back.
All right. I don't think I have any more questions. Pretty much.
Okay.
I'm signing all of this. Or just one?
I think there'll be 7 for you to sign.
Wait, so it's 7 counts? I'm being charged with
No,
7
no. It's just because they have to go to different places.
different places. Wait, so why I gotta go to different places, like different states?
No.
That's it, bro. That's it. I don't get not your life, homie. Hold on, okay.
This is my life, I'm with you.
I know, but damn, nigga, like I'm
You done, you can sit down.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Wilson, did you hear some of the discussion I had with Mr. Arnold? Okay, so you're in the same boat. In your situation, the allegation, yes, out of Texas, Department of Criminal Justice.
Yes, sir. I want to go ahead and sign the waiver, get the process going so I can go ahead and everything be taken care of when I get back.
Okay. Okay, do you have any questions of me, Mr. Bills?
No questions at all.
Okay, so once you sign the waiver, sir, they'll send it over to me, and then you'll be free to go back, and I'll sign it, and then the clock will start today.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Can you hold for a second, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay, Your Honor, a couple guys have a question for you.
Okay.
This is me, Ronnie Holmes again.
Okay.
So if I get extradited to Maryland and everything is handled, or whatever happens, I don't know what's gonna happen. But whenever I do get leave from that custody, well, do they pay for me to come back home to Georgia?
I do not believe they will.
They just release me to Maryland. I gotta find my way back to Georgia. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, this is Toby.
Okay.
What is my, let me phrase this right. What is my best way of posting bail before the end of this month or next month?
So, Mr. Toby, you're probably, in order for you to get the chance for the best service, you're probably going to need to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
You do not have a criminal history. If it was not for the impediment that I could not set you a bond, I would have set you a bond. Your lawyer, it's like, by hiring a lawyer, that lawyer is going to put your interests first.
Right.
With people who are appointed lawyers, the people who are working in that capacity has nothing to do with their ability, but they get cases every day. They get new clients every day. So you're going to have to fall in line with those clients. If you were to retain a lawyer, you can make some demands that the lawyer, contact the DA's office and actually kind of push your interests.
Okay, I was talking on the standpoint where you said I could get a paid lawyer to, I guess, talk to the judge or talk to the DA and getting me a bail. That's what I was talking about.
And that's what I was trying to respond to. And so if you were my client and you called me and say, hey, look, I'm charged with this, blah, 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 I would take down your information, take down the stuff that I know that I'm going to need to talk to the prosecutor. And then I start calling the DA's office. I start trying to set up a meeting. I start trying to get into their office in order to speak to them about your case. Because all I need for them to do is to agree.
Okay.
Consent. And then once I get that, I can draw up the paperwork. I can do everything. I can take it to a judge. They've agreed to it. Boom. They sign off on it. You don't have to be on a calendar to do that.
Okay, and one last thing. How likely is that to happen? Is there a guarantee if I get a lawyer, he could get me out before the end of next month?
So first of all, nothing is guaranteed. So I can't tell you that. I can tell you that what you're charged with is a nonviolent offense involving marijuana that in a lot of states is becoming legalized. So the act that you are alleged to have engaged in, even if everything is true based upon the allegations, a lot of that is something that today you would probably not face any jail time. So I don't know, I don't believe that they would have, with no criminal history and this offense, I don't believe that somebody in the district attorney's office would be like, hot to keep you in jail.
Okay, so long story short, I just need to get me a payload.
That's probably your best bet.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, that completes first appearance.
Okay, good to see you, Deputy Cox.
I just need to, y'all can sit down. Y'all already spoke to each other. No, sit down. Don't worry about that.
It's just me, man.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, Deputy Cox, one last thing, and it's going to be the last joke that I make about your leaving, going on vacation.
Okay.
So while you were gone, I had 11 people, I think, on Monday.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you come back, and I got like 30-some people.
Oh, hey, they know the greatness is working, so I can work through the schedule.
All right. Well, I appreciate the answer. You have a good day.
You as well. I'll ask one. Did you have an Oliver on your court appearance? First appearance yesterday.
It was Judge Knight's. I think I had an Oliver on Monday.
Can you say what the first name was?
Yes. If it's the person that I'm thinking of, no, it may have been Friday. But is this a person that was like rejecting coming to court?
No, it's just his first name. Last name Oliver. First name is Damon.
Okay. All right. Give me a second. Okay. So I had an email yesterday from Judge Knights about a William Richburg that he was going to reset for today, but he did not appear on my calendar. And for Oliver, I spoke to Sergeant Riley, and I believe it was on Friday, but I'm going to check on Monday because the days kind of run together at some point. And
the message I just sent you, that's in reference to Richburg.
I'm sorry.
The message I just sent you, that's in reference to Richburg.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's see. Friday was it the 7th?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so I think Mr. Oliver was on Friday. Let me. Marvin Damian Oliver. LE number 218-8127.
Hey, let me just verify that. That's it.
Okay.
And did you say 218-8137?
Um, 218-8127, yes.
Hey, y'all, what was the LA number again?
It was 218-8127.
No, so that's not gonna be it, Your Honor. Is there a way that you can look up, I guess the first appearance in reference to the LA number?
I can go onto CPU 8 and put in an LE number. What LE number do you have?
2106970.
2106970. Okay.
You go ahead and.
So I'll tell you, just, let's see, let me try to move this. All right.
I'll let y'all get y'all food and y'all stay up, because they don't put all your trays in.
If you know that he was yesterday, then Judge Knights would have handled that person. And I am gonna try to see. What you're saying to me is not coming to my recollection.
Okay.
I did have a person that was refusing to come to. Huh.
You can start letting everybody. Oh, you get it.
Okay. I'm showing him on my side as having a hold. Let me go back and look again at the paperwork from Friday. Huh. So I don't know if this is the same person, but the person that I was dealing with from last week, his name on the bond is listed as Marvin Damian Oliver. The LE number that you gave me comes up with Damian Quantellis Oliver.
Okay.
And he's showing, from my side, he's showing us like he's in the medical ward.
What cell you got him in the middle?
So I have like location. What I'm seeing for the LE number you gave me is showing up as wait.
Okay.
Then when it says classification, and I think it's saying classification, it looks like it's saying medical.
Okay. So what, in reference to the other one that you gave, what is that?
Oh, that was someone from last Thursday and Friday that was refusing to come to court. And they thought that he may have been 24. And so I continued him from Thursday into Friday. And I was going to try to say, look, I gotta do a first appearance on him. I ended up speaking to Sergeant Riley, who was telling me that the computer that you guys have used before was broken. And so I did some research, and apparently under the law, it's like the person has to be given the opportunity to come before a judge. And this person apparently refused twice. And as a judge, I can go ahead and set a bond, but if I was going to put conditions on the bond, I had to speak to that person about the conditions. So there weren't any conditions. So I just went ahead, I set a bond for him on Thursday. So I just went ahead and set the bond and sent the paperwork in.
Okay, all right, well, I appreciate you helping me out and going over and beyond your job titles.
That's all right. You know, for you people that on vacation, y'all get vacation. My vacation is Saturday and Sunday.
You take me when you can.
No, I'm sorry. I threw another joke in there. That's gonna be it. You have a good day. Thank you for your assistance.